Locho sampo pa gyo trashi pa Toche tempe trinle yarngoda Pege drolor zampe ze parache Alden lame shabla solvade Om a Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nishasane Kar Uta Varda Nishri Bar Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om a Guru Vajra Dar Suma Timo Nishasane Kar Uta Varda Nishri Bar Varsa Manya Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nishasane Kar Uta Varda Nishri Bar Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Nishasane Karma Uta Varda Nishri Bar Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dar Suma Timo Nishasane Karma Uta Varda Nishri Bar Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nishasane Karma Uta Varda Nishri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dar Nishasane Karma Uta Varda Nishri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nishasane Karma Uta Varda Nishri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nishasane Karma Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Tim Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Tagi che son lama tuje che nyamda dala tuje siksu so gebe shesan dala tendo so uyon sungi nawa tsedu sol sechi nyingne sowa debe tse dechen korlo visu lekshune yila sampe dede malupa geme lungi drupra jingi lop Sonye sodan dikdun shape tse dungi namge yinsu lekshune Labchen sonye yonsu zopa dan chera nyedun chanra jingilo Chancho bharge nyinsen tukun tu nyu peme siudru lekshu Drube gegen kunshi shi Tingen de la drubra jinge lo dagi lo na chola chopada chemi samjor ngemba shiwada tendo malu pa beme lunge drubra jinge lo tena tamche dan teche pardo nega tamche tu Rese kyamne lama kele me tukche chingi dala siksu sol Gongyab drewe nyamda dachala Chetsun lame tuche rabgongne Godan sungi nawa drame tu Nyamsu nyongwe kesan topra sho Kewa kundu yanda lama Cheki pela longche ching Sada lamge yönde rabzone dorje change kopa nyorto vish. Pakyuke kodan dage lo, pakyuke sondan dage nga, pakyuke todan dage ye, ten yerme chikto jinge lo. Makyuke kodan dage lo, makyuke sondan dage nga, makyuke todan dage ye, ten yerme chikto jinge lo. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Svoha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Kyamunya Svoha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamunya Svoha. Sangye chedan soge chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapsochi dagi jinso gibe sonamgi trola pinchira sangye druparisho. Sangye chedan soge chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapsochi dagi jinso gibe sonamgi drola pinchira sangye druparisho. Sangye chedan soge chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapsochi dagi cheshe gibe sonamgi drola pinchira sangye druparisho. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfection, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So we just start, we make a brief dedication prayer for the situation in Nepal, so the people there may be able to have the wisdom, the strength to deal with the situation, and may it be overcome as soon as possible. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Vagishwari Mum. Om Vagishwari Mum. Om Vagishwari Mum. Om Vagishwari Mum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Aritse Mam Svoha. Om Aritse Mam Svoha. Om Aritse Mam Svoha. Om Aritse Mam Svoha. Om Aritse Mam Soha. 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 Om Aritse Swaha. Om Aritse Mam Swaha. So, as we come back to the Guru Puja, we have arrived in verse number 38 that regards the part of purification, rejoicing, requesting the teachings, requesting Guru Buddha to remain with us for long, and making the dedications, which are the next 5 of the 7 limb prayers. No? As we saw before, in the Guru Puja we have the 7 limb prayers, which start with prostrations, offerings, and then there are these next 5, which is purification, rejoicing, requesting the teachings, requesting Guru Buddha to remain with us, and finally the dedications. So, yesterday we were able to see and to conclude the part of the offerings very well. I'm very happy for that also because we could understand a little bit better the meaning of why to make offerings, also as creating a way of creating causes for us to experience such positive conditions also. But I don't want to go now back into the offerings, otherwise I get lost into it. But it's an important part, and then after. But this is the part that we need to see now, it's also important. So we concluded very well the offerings. So now we need to start with the next of the 5 of the 7 limb prayers, which is purification. In the Guru Puja, there is a specific emphasis done on prostration and after that on offerings. On the next 5 of the 7 limb prayers is 1 verse per prayer. Okay, so it's more short. If we want, we can make longer, and I will explain a little bit how, but normally we do 1 verse for each one. So the verse that we have now here is Tome dune mige dikpele gidan gitse iran chichipa tuje chendre chengar gyosemge shakshin lenche mige domban nu, which is verse number 38. So before we go through it, we need to understand what is the meaning of purification. A few weeks ago, I think we had some teachings here on weekend only about purification, so there was the possibility to explain very slowly and in details and so on. But let's just try to make it briefly the essence of the meaning, okay? The fact is that everything that we experience in our life is a result of causes that we have created in the past. Positive and negative. We are constantly, let's say, like playing a game in which we create conditions in the present that ripens causes that we have created in the past, positive and negative. Okay, this is karma basically. That's the meaning of karma. So, in the present time, what we do is we simply create conditions for the past and we create causes for the future. So, yesterday I made a metaphor that is, I don't like it so much, but I think it's quite clear, in which I said the importance of accumulating merit. That is, if we go to buy something, the shop can be open, they are willing to sell us what we want, but if we don't have the money, we cannot buy it. Similar to that, negativities is like debts that we accumulate. It's like having a debt. In the moment that I really need to pay my debt, then I have no choice. But I need to pay it somehow. It's like if I have a very big debt, and then at a certain point I don't pay in a way, but when all the conditions come, finally I need to give up the house, I need to give up this, I need to give up whatever. The conditions are coming when the debt comes. So to purify, it means not to pay a debt that we have accumulated. To purify, it means to eliminate the debt without paying it.
It's a sort of amnesty. That's purification. When we pay the debt, we are extinguishing the debt, yes, but we are not purifying. We are simply extinguishing the debt. When we are experiencing the result, we are extinguishing the debt. We are paying the debt. But this is not purification. The process of purification is to do something, and we will go through it, in order to eliminate the causes without needing to experience the result. That's the objective. Because once the result starts, then we just need to deal with it. It's like the sickness. Once the sickness starts, then we need to take care of it. We need to find a way how to cure and so on. But then it's too late to purify. We need to deal with the actual thing. It's like one of Buddha's main disciples. His name was Moggallana or Monganaliputra. And Moggallana, he was very well learned in the practices of, let's say, so illusionists, creating illusions and magics, and he was able to become invisible and this type of things. He was able to do very strange things. And one time he was in a place that was a non-Buddhist area, and as he reached this place, somehow some people didn't like him, and they started to beat him. So he was very badly beaten up by these people. He was completely broken. So when he arrived in the monastery, completely broken, and later he was so badly beaten, this was one of the main conditions through which he died. When he arrived there, the other monks looked to him and said, "But what happened to you?" "Oh, I was beaten by these people." And he said, "But why? Why you were not like you didn't disappear, or you start flying, or you did any of your beautiful magics? Why you don't do something like this in order to escape?" And then he answered, "When your karma catches you, there is no way to escape from it." He was not like complaining about these people that beat him or something like that. He was just saying, when your karma catches you, there is no way you can escape from it. So he was saying, that's my karma, It catched me. So now I need to experience the result. It's like if I am on a tall building and I'm holding something quite heavy. Until I'm able to hold it, it's okay. In the moment that I let it go, then I just need to wait it fall down. There's no much I can do, really. In the sense, when the karma manifests, that's too late to purify. Then we need to deal with the problem. If it's a sickness, we need to go to the doctor, we need to take medicines, we need to do the practices of healing, we need to do many things. But it's not a process of purification. Purification means when we actually eliminate the causes without needing to have the result. In some cases, this happens when the purification is complete. When we are able to do a complete purification, then we don't need to live the result, don't need to experience the result of that. When we experience a half purification, if the purification is not complete, it can have another two types of effects. One effect of the purification, non-complete purification, is that the result is smaller. It's like if I have a debt of 10,000, I finally need to pay 2 or 5 or whatever. So I get a discount. And the other type of purification, that if we don't have a complete purification, what the purification can do also is we have a big result. Instead of needing to experience it all at once, that will be very painful, we experience it in many, many small parts. So it's like if we can pay every month something. No? So this is just because by making this material metaphors is more easy maybe for us to understand. But this is what is happening. This is related to purification. But when we talk about karma, basically what it is actions that we do. And we all do negative actions. Okay? Now, if you have a sickness, the spiritual practice can help very much to cure that sickness. But then the karma of having the sickness is already manifesting. So maybe that you can have, then there is the karma is very complex, because you have the karma to get the sickness. Then there is the karma related to how long the sickness will last. For example, some people have the karma to have something very beautiful in their life, but they don't have the karma for it to last long. Or someone have a karma of something very negative, but it goes very quick. Karma is there are many aspects within it. So when we get a sickness, the karma of having the sickness has already manifested. But then we still have how long is the sickness going to last, how it's going to be the experience of the sickness, and so on. So it's not like, okay, now I had a result, there's nothing more to do. It's not like that. Okay? But we need to understand, first of all, that what is karma in a way? Karma is basically our actions of body, speech, and mind. Everything that we say, everything that we do physically, every thought that we have, all of this, it's imprinted in our mental continuum, like a seed that is planted. And sooner or later, we experience the result in the moment that the conditions are there. So, what are, in few words, positive actions and negative actions? Basically, what mostly determines an action is the motivation that we have. So, for example, negative actions would mostly be actions done with anger, hatred, aversion, jealousy, envy, pride, arrogance, miserliness, not keeping our commitments, and so on. So this is basically what would be mostly the negative actions, okay? Now I'm making it very simple. Positive actions is the actions done mostly with love and compassion and wisdom, generosity, and so on. So, but here there is one other point which is important also for us to understand briefly, is the fact that there are different ways to look at karma. One way is that we say that karma is basically only the intention, is the mental factor intention, simchun sempa. Okay? So the karma is the intention. And the actions of body and mind and speech are what we call lelam, which is the pathway of the action. Okay? The action comes through the words I say, through the physical action I do. But according to the Madhyamika Prasangika, the highest school, it's not exactly like that. The actual physical action is karma also. So the example that I gave last time is, let's say I am in the kitchen on a high-story building, maybe in the 10th floor, and I am in this small kitchen teaching many children how to make chocolate cake. And I am making these cookies together with all these children, and so there are maybe 20 children inside the kitchen. And then suddenly happens that this little electric oven I have, where I put the cookies inside, starts to get fire. And it's coming a very toxic smoke out of it. And the fire gets stronger, and I am very afraid that the kids will get hurt. So I really don't want the kids to get hurt. And the door is closed, and I'm not able to open the door to send the kids away. So what I do, I go and I take this oven, even hurting my own hands, and I throw it out of the window. Why I do that? Because I want to save the kids. What my intention was, good or bad? Was a good intention. The problem is that as I throw it out of the window, it goes down from the 10th floor and it hits the head of a man that is passing by. And he dies. Did I kill him? Did I have the intention to kill him? No, but did I kill him? Yes. So did I do the action of killing? Oh, but it was not in my intention. So what? Still, I killed. But there is a big difference. If I see the man coming, I recognize who he is, I say, I must kill him. I take the oven, I measure the weight of the oven, I think about the distance, I look at him, and I say, okay, here it is, let's see. I throw it. And then I get on his head and I say, yes, I did it. Okay? There's a big difference between these two actions. Okay? The fact that I didn't have the intention doesn't mean that I didn't do the action. But for an action to be complete, it must have 4 characteristics, 4 aspects, which are the intention, which is the motivation. I want to do this. The second one is to do the action. The third is to complete the action. And the fourth is to rejoice about the action. Yes, I did it. Okay? So this is the 4 conditions. Oh, the same thing is for a positive action. Let's say I want to help a person. Oh, I need to help that person. I go to help the person. I do the job to help the person. I'm able to help him, but as I help him, He's not thankful, he doesn't say thank you or anything like that, and still look bad to me. And what I say, why I help this man? He's not even thankful to me. Is my action complete? No, because I didn't rejoice. Okay? So what happened is that also it's the same thing. For an action to be complete, from positive and negative side, it must have the 4 aspects. Okay? So this is something that is important for us, generally speaking, to be aware of. Now, do we do negative actions or not? Yes. We do actions out with anger, with jealousy, with fear, with miserliness, with ignorance. We hurt other people, we speak violently, we do gossiping, we don't keep our commitments, we do many negative things. Why do we do negative actions? Because we are ignorant. And basically we want to be happy. That's all. So we don't need to blame ourselves. We don't need to feel guilty about our negative actions. But we need to purify them. So the practice is for us every day to look within ourselves and say, okay, what were the actions that I did? Because karma has 4 aspects. Okay, now very briefly. There is no result that didn't have a cause. So everything that we experience is because at some point we created the causes for that. The causes and results are coherent. Positive actions will bring positive results. Negative actions will bring negative results. It's like if I plant the seed of an orange, I will not get a lemon. Okay? Orange brings oranges. Maybe not the same size, but will bring oranges. Okay? So, I can have a plantation with thousands of medicine trees or very sweet trees. If I put a poison tree in the middle and I plant a poison seed, will it become sweet and medicine because around is all medicine and sweet? It will still be bitter and poison. Similar to that, I can do many positive actions, but that small negative action I did is still a negative action. On the other way around, I can do many negative things. If I do something positive, it is still positive. Okay, it will still bring its positive results. So, based on that, karma is coherent. Third point, every action we do, if this action is not purified or blocked by some means, sooner or later it will give its results. 4th aspect, the karma grows. When we do an action, we are planting a seed in our mental continuum, but this seed is alive somehow. It is moving. It has some inertia. It has its own energy. So if it's a negative action and I do not regret about it, I do not openly admit my mistake, I just leave it there, slowly it becomes bigger and bigger. If I do a positive action and I rejoice about it and I dedicate it, it will also grow this energy and it will bring a bigger result in the future. So, because we don't want negative results, because we don't want to get sick, because we don't want to have suffering and so on, better to purify the causes before they come. But some people say, but how do I know which were my negative actions and so on? Sure, we don't remember everything. We don't even remember well what I had for lunch yesterday. How can we remember all the times we acted in a violent way? The fact that I don't remember, is this a justification not to pay the price, not to pay for the result of what I have done or not? Let's say I kill a person. Then I go to sleep and I wake up with total amnesia. I don't remember anything that I have done. Am I still responsible for having killed that person or not? Yes. But I don't remember. Doesn't matter. I still did it and I still need to pay for it. The karma is the same way. The actions that we did in our previous lives, do you remember them? Me not. Most of us, I don't think so. But am I still responsible for them or not? Yes. So, to do the purification is a very important part of our practice, because once the results start to manifest, then it's difficult, When difficult moments come in our life, then sometimes it's really difficult. When we have all the positive conditions, we really need to take advantage of this moment. Because if we start to get sick, if we start to get material difficulties, there is a saying in Portuguese, I think in Italian also, I don't know, in English, it says, it always rains where it's already wet. Okay. Sometimes you see there are situations that it's coming one difficulty after the other. One problem on top of the other. This is like when a strong karma manifests, then it's very difficult to stop it. So before anything happens, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to purify it before it happens. When it happens, it's too late. We just need to deal with it afterwards. Okay? So, I know that for most of us, actually, it's quite difficult to understand purification, really, because we like to deal with the difficult problems, because we can only see our negativities once they manifest. Even things that we do remember that we did wrong, we maybe feel guilty, but the concept of purification is not so strong in our mind, because we don't know much about karma, really. Okay? But law of cause and effect. Every action we do is a seed that we plant. Sooner or later, there will be a result. So we need to plant positive seeds, and we need to eliminate the negative seeds. And for that's why we do the practice of purification. Doing the practice of purification daily will bring us two benefits, more than two, but let's talk about two benefits. One benefit is that by looking every day at our own actions, it helps us to redirect our mind and to observe our own behavior. Second, it helps us to make the karma at least not to grow, minimum, and possibly to purify it. Okay? So let's see the text. So, as we go through the verse of purification, there is one specific verse on the Guru Puja, and then we can add some other prayers also. So the verse says, Tome dunimige dikpele gidangitse iran chijipa tuje chenre chengar gyosemge shakshin lenche migi dongba num. Before the eyes of those having great compassion, which means the merit field, Guru Buddha and all the other entourage. That's why, as I said yesterday, when we do the Guru Puja, we can do it or in the plural, like saying all of you, all you gurus, or we can do in the singular, all you Guru Buddha. Okay? So if I do in the singular, I would say, before the eye of you having great compassion, which means you, Guru Buddha, who is in front of me. Here we say, we lay bare with a mind of regret. We can say we or I. In Tibetan, this is not specified, so in the translation you can put in different ways, okay? We lay bare with a mind of regret. When we say here, we lay bare, it's like I openly admit my mistakes. With a mind of regret. Regret doesn't mean to feel guilty. It means to recognize that what I have done was not good. Okay? So I openly admit my mistake. And I openly admit my action and openly admit that it was a mistake. Whatever non-virtuous actions bound to misfortune we have committed from beginningless time, cause others to do, or in which we have rejoiced, we vow never to commit them again. First thing here is that the concept of openly admitting our mistakes, it's very, very important. Because being sincere, I find sometimes a lot of difficulties nowadays. Because we have difficulties to openly admit our mistakes. I see around, whenever there is a mistake, what's the tendency? Or to put the person put himself in the position of the victim, or try to hide, I haven't done anything, and try to somehow escape from whatever type of situation. Maybe this is coming because we have maybe in a culture of punishment and so on, so I don't know. The fact is that I find very difficult to see situations in which people simply openly admit their mistakes and take responsibility for what they do. It's quite rare, strangely, even with the small things of daily life. No? So this makes things quite difficult, even for someone that needs to guide the other person. Because there is a saying in Tibetan which says, someone who really loves you will not be always nice to you. Okay? Or the saying, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit the other way around, which says, someone that is always too nice to you doesn't really love you. Which means if I am always, yes, yes, how nice, how beautiful, everything okay, everything perfect, this is easy, no? But this means you don't really care about the other person. Because when you see that the other person is doing something that is not correct, and then you see that you have the possibility to say something, then we should say. We should try to help the person to change, to understand his own mistakes. But the problem that we have nowadays, that I find I've seen with Rinpoche many times, with myself a few times I had this situation, is that you say something to the other person, and instead of admitting one's own mistake openly, the situation is, or the person put himself in a situation of victimizing himself. Oh yes, but it's not because of this, it's because of that, blah, 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 blah. Or try to put himself in the defensive mode. And it becomes very difficult. It creates conflict. It creates some sort of conflict sometimes, you know. And saying things quite openly, quite directly. What happens is like this. I talk about Lama because that's the position in which I find myself. I don't like giving examples about other people's lives. Taking example of myself, you know. The Lama is a nice person. The Lama is wonderful. The Lama is many, many positive things until the moment that the Lama is saying what you like to listen. In the moment that the Lama says what you don't want to listen, then things change. That's how very often happens to our mind. That's because we have a very infantile mind. Very selfish, actually. I was remembering now, you know, in the moment that the Lama has a behavior that we think he shouldn't have, or say something that I think he shouldn't say, or is not what I wanted to listen, then we are ready to judge, you know. So I was remembering Tsog Rinpoche, Kyabche Tsog Rinpoche, one of the gurus of Lama Ganchen. Lama Ganchen was his personal attendant for maybe almost 2 years. And Tsog Rinpoche was very direct. So Lama Ganchen was scolded by him at least once a day. At least once a day, Tsog Rinpoche was saying, oh, you did this wrong or that or something. Something was there every day. And there is nothing wrong about it. Lama Ganchen was always very grateful for all of it. But I just remember, Tsog Rinpoche was very direct. No? So one time, for example, I just tell because it's a nice story, but there was a puja. And actually they were doing this practice of Yamantaka. And normally when we have the puja, the umza is guiding the practice. And there is a precise moment where to stop to drink the tea. So normally the right moment to stop to drink the tea, where you make the offerings and then you drink the tea, is between some specific meditations. So there is a meditation, you finish this, before start the next meditation, you drink the tea. What happened is that this time they were doing the practice, and there is a moment in which you visualize that there is a vajra in the heart with the moon disk representing relative and absolute bodhicitta and so on. So there is this dorje in the heart. And the Umze, he did the offering of the tea in the middle of this visualization. Most probably because the tea was there, he didn't want to have cold tea. So before finish this part, in the middle of this visualization, he went there and he did the offering of the tea. So most of the people were just there drinking their tea, they didn't care much. Then Tsog Rinpoche, people could see that he was a little bit not very happy with the point or whatever the tea offering was made. Then he took the dorje and he said to the Umze, he said, now you take the dorje, put in the tea and eat it. Like the biscuit, no? Because this is not the moment to make the tea offering. If you do now, you are visualizing there the dorje, then suddenly you have the tea. Why? You know? So Rinpoche was very straightforward. Was saying things very directly. And still, he used to say, the disciples of today is not like in the past times. You cannot scold them anymore because they are too fragile. They change their mind too easily. So imagine what about today? If this was in the 70s in the monastery in India, which his disciples were like, many of them were similar to Rinpoche and many others, very hard, very stable and so on. And still, he said we cannot scold disciples anymore. Imagine today. Even when you try to say something nicely to the person, always need to be like taking many pieces of cotton, trying to do in the best way in order the person not to feel offended and so on. Why? Because we have the difficulty admitting our own mistakes, and which is one of the most beautiful things we can do. If I come to you or anyone come to you and say, look, maybe this attitude is not good. Oh, thank you if you help me to show something that I can see. But we have such a difficulty accepting it. Such a difficulty admitting openly our own mistakes without feeling guilty, without feeling judged, and so on. But it's very important, actually. So, for me, when recognizing my own mistakes had always been something very joyful. Because even I remember very clear, one time I wrote down, it was New Year time. I never liked so much New Year time, anyhow. And one time I went to Ramagancha and I said, Rinpoche, I need to openly admit to you some mistakes. And Rinpoche said, okay, tomorrow. Something like that. Then I wrote them down. There were 32 points. I have a little black book. I wrote on my little black book. These 32 points. It took more or less 1 year to be able to read them to Rinpoche. I don't know, whatever reason. I asked many times. He said, oh yes, tomorrow, something like this, okay. When I was able to read finally, I was happy because some of them were not there anymore. I had already overcome it. But when I see my own mistakes, which were, some of them were attitudes that I had that I didn't like, other were things that I was supposed to do and I was not doing. And when I see this and I say, oh, how good that I can see it, so I can put an energy to become different. To openly admit our mistakes means I can change. But one thing, and maybe I was looking for a nice way how to say it, I think this is a nice way. One of the greatest attachments that we have is that we have the attachment that reality should be in the way how we want it to be. And the same thing is about ourselves. We should be what we expect ourselves to be. So when we see a mistake, oh, I cannot be that. What are other people going to think about me? So when someone comes and shows a mistake that we have done, we try right away to fix it up somehow, because what are you going to think about me if it's so clear that I have done this mistake? Relax. Especially if the person talking to you loves you. No need. I have these worries. And in the moment that I openly admit my mistake, it means I recognize my own potential of change. It means I say to myself, I can be better. I can change. So, I openly admit my mistake, and I make a commitment not to repeat again such action. So beautiful. So special. And we can do it daily. Every day. Okay? So the practice is, I openly admit my own mistakes, the actions that I have done. We are not here asking for forgiveness. The practice of purification is not a practice of asking for forgiveness. We don't need to ask forgiveness to anyone. If we need to ask forgiveness, it's to ourselves. Because by doing a negative actions, we are harming ourselves most of all. Or even because if I ask forgiveness to you after having harmed you, I should say sorry if I do something wrong. This is something else. But even if I ask forgiveness to you and you forgive me for what I have done, if I do not openly admit and regret about my action, I'm not going to purify anything. If I openly admit my mistake and I make a commitment not to repeat again and I make the practice of purification, I can purify all my action, even if you do not, accept my apologies. You say no. So, the point is that we need to openly admit our mistake and make the commitment not to repeat such action again. Then, with this, we will do something to purify. And before that, there is the other power of purification, that is to generate a mind of love, compassion, respect, because we can make negative actions towards sentient beings and towards holy beings. So towards sentient beings, in order to create the basis to purify the negative actions, we need to generate love and compassion towards them. Towards the holy beings, we need to generate faith and respect, which is a way to clear away this conflict, this negative connection, let's say. Okay? That's why it's refuge and bodhicitta, which is the basis that in the Guru Puja already came in the beginning. So from this point, the verse is saying, I openly admit what I have done. I regret about it. I don't feel guilty, but I recognize that it was a mistake. All the negative actions I have done since the beginningless time, because I don't know which were my first actions. And am I responsible or not of a negative action, even though I forgot about it? Yes. If I kill a person, and then I go to sleep, and the next day I wake up with total amnesia, and I don't remember anything, am I still responsible for having killed that person? Yes. So if I do many negative actions, and then I die, and I am reborn, and I don't remember anything, am I still responsible? Yes. My karma is still there. So that's why we say from beginningless time. I don't know since when I did negative actions. For sure somewhere there they are. So, I not only openly admit and regret the actions that I have done since the beginningless time, but also the actions that I have caused others to do, or that I have rejoiced of others doing. For example, during a war, there is a soldier going on the field and killing people, and there is the general that maybe is in an office and is never even holding a weapon in his hand, but is giving the order for the others to kill. Who has the strongest negative karma? The general. Much worse. If the soldier kills 10 people, he has the karma of killing 10 people. If there were 1,000 people killed, the general has the karma of killing the 1,000 people. And of making other people to kill also, it's worse. Okay? So we regret of all the actions that we did, we caused others to do, and we rejoiced of others doing. No? Just to make an example, a few days ago, I met one man out of the context of the center. And what happened is that 2-3 weeks ago, one man went inside the court of Milan, and because of his own personal situation, whatever, he was very angry. It doesn't matter now exactly the details about the whole thing. The fact is that he shot down 3 people dead. Okay? And I was talking to this other man about something completely different subject, and suddenly he opened the subject and he said, oh, this man that he killed that judge, he did the right thing. If I would be there, I would also have killed him. He did really the right thing. Why? It doesn't matter now. Why he was saying this and so on. The point is that, is killing a negative action? Yes. Was this man rejoicing of such negative action? Yes. So he has the karma of rejoicing on killing, which is not exactly the same as killing, but it's also very negative karma. Okay? So we need to be careful. It's not only doing the action, but it's rejoicing about it and making others to do it also. Okay? So the point here is that we need to generate a mind of love and compassion, respect, faith towards Guru Buddha and the Three Jewels. Openly admit our mistakes, which is something beautiful. It shouldn't be heavy. It's, wow, how good I can see my mistakes so I can change. The worst is when we have negative actions and we are not even able to see them. And that's why the practices of purification is not something for beginners. It's also sure for beginners, but it's also for very advanced practitioners. Lama Tsongkhapa did years of practice of purification. Atisha did a lot of practice of purification. And the more we go on the path, the more we are able to see the more subtle negativities. Okay? So sometimes as we move along our own spiritual path, it may look like we have more negativities, but it's not true. Simply we are more aware of our own negativities. Okay? Which is something so good, because it means we can change. Okay? So, after having openly admitted, made a commitment not to repeat again, then we need to do something to purify. It can be a meditation of purification, a recitation of a mantra. There are visualizations for purification. I can help a person. I can clean a place. I can do many things in order to purify. But the practice of purification, it becomes powerful in the moment that there is love and compassion and respect and faith, which means refuge and bodhicitta. In the moment there is the openly admitting our own mistake and the commitment not to repeat again. If these three causes are there, then the practice of purification becomes very strong. I just remember one thing. This is something very personal. I'm sorry if I say like this, but there are some holy places and there are some holy objects, and sometimes there's a tradition of saying, oh, if you listen to this sound, you will purify the negativity of 10,000 lives or whatever. No? And if you go through this little window and you are able to pass through this place, you will purify such amount of negativities. What I always thought, that when I looked at this, I always said, yes, okay, if you come with a mind of refuge and bodhicitta, with love and compassion towards others, you regret of the negative actions, make the commitment not to repeat again, and then listen to the sound. Yes, then it may work. But just by listening to it, just by doing, I was never really able to believe really much in this, This is my own personal way of seeing. I'm sorry, but my fact is that it's very important for us to develop this power of purification. By reciting this verse, we are not purifying anything. By following what the verse is saying with our mind, then we have a very strong power of purification. Okay? Okay. So when we do the practice of Guru Puja, we first recite the verse number 38. Tome dune mige dikbele gidan gitse iran chijipa tulje chenren chengar gyosemgi shakshi lenche migi dongpa ne. That we have just read before, as it says, before the eyes of those having great compassion, we lay bare, with a mind of regret, whatever non-virtuous actions bound to misfortune we have committed from beginningless time, caused others to do, or in which we have rejoiced, we vow never to commit them again. So at this moment of the practice, we generate this intention, and then we visualize from the heart of Guru Buddha. The simple way is visualize from the heart of Guru Buddha a flow of light and nectar that comes to our crown, fills our body, and our body is completely purified from all these negativities. And in front of Guru Buddha, we make the commitment not to repeat such action again. And we request his blessings to have the strength and the wisdom not to repeat such actions again. So, if we want to do the practice a little bit more, extensive, what we can do at this point is we can combine other practices of purification. We have seen a few weeks ago the practice of the confession of the 35 Buddhas. We have seen the practice of Vajrasattva, the practice of the fire puja of Vajradhaka. We can do any of these practices at this point. We do the verse 38, then after we go and we do the fire puja of Vajradhaka. Or we can do the practice of Vajrasattva, or we do the confession of the 35 Buddhas. Normally we do this after verse 38. Personally, I like doing the practice of Vajrasattva here. So I will just explain it in a very simple way. If we have the text of the practice of Vajrasattva and we like to read it, we can add it at this point. The only difference is that normally we visualize Vajrasattva at our crown, sitting at our crown. In this moment, we visualize Vajrasattva at the heart of Guru Buddha. So in the heart of Guru Buddha in front of us is Buddha Shakyamuni. In the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni is Buddha Vajradhara. Vajradhara, blue in color, transforms into Vajrasattva, white in color. Then I remember the negative actions which I have done. It's important to remember them specifically, not too general. So because if I just say, I openly admit all the negative actions I have done of body, speech, and mind since the beginningless time, it's too general very often. It doesn't touch our heart really. Instead, if we remember, yes, I remember all the time, for example, when I talked to that person and I used this violent word, and when I was lying here and I was trying to make people to creating conflict there, and when I physically was not nice, and so on. We remember the specific, when I didn't maintain my commitment, when we remember the specific actions, and then we simply make it more general, say, I openly admit all the negative actions I have done similar to this since a beginnerless time. All those that I remember and all the actions that I do not remember anymore. I openly admit all of them. Okay? So I openly admit all the times I acted with anger, with jealousy, with pride, with miserliness, and so on and so on. So we generate this attitude of openly admitting, of making the commitment not to repeat again such actions. And then we visualize from the heart of Guru Buddha is Buddha Vajrasattva, white in color. A flow of white nectar comes to our crown, fills our body. Our body is completely filled up with this beautiful white nectar. And all our negativities, which means all the negative actions we have done, which are like seeds, like imprints, they get out of our body in the form of like black smoke. It's a sort of sweat. But I don't like to imagine it as sweat because the sweat actually is sticky, no? So if you try to imagine, if I say like a sweat, then you imagine negativity getting out and then it gets stuck. And after you have a shower, no, it's not working. So it's like a sort of a smoke that gets out. And as it gets out from all the pores of our body, it dissolves into space. Okay? So what is this? It's the negativities. So all the actions we have done, these imprints that we have in our mental continuum, they all get out in the form of this black smoke that dissolves into space. And our body gets completely filled up with white nectar and light. As we do this, we recite the mantra Vajrasattva. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manubalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatisha Didro Mebava Sutokayo Mebava Supokayo Mebava Anuragdo Mebava Sarva Siddhi Mebraya Sarva Karma Sutsa Metsitam Shriyam Kuru Hon Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramame Minsa Vajra Bhavama Samaya Sattva Ahum Pe. As we recite the mantra, we visualize that all the negativities are completely being purified. We can recite the mantra 1 time, 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, as many times as we want. 108 times, 1,000 times. It depends on how much time we want to dedicate and how much emphasis we will put at this very right moment of the practice. Okay? So, and when we finish this part of purification, then Vajrasattva becomes once again Vajradhara, blue in color, in the heart of Guru Buddha. Okay? So, if we want to add here also, another thing that we can add, which is very nice to do, is we take the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. I don't remember exactly the number of the verses now, but in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, there are the verses that regard to purification, to openly admitting our own mistakes. There are very beautiful verses. They really are verses that go direct into our heart. So we can add these verses here in between. So we read them in order to generate the deep and sincere thought, oh, I openly admit my mistakes, and please, Guru Buddha, bless me, so I may have the strength and the wisdom not to repeat such actions again. Okay? So this is the intention that we generate. It's important. For example, I remember one time we had a friend, 2 friends, and we were in Tibet, and one of them, they were in a temple and they were praying, and then one asked to the other, oh, what are you praying, and so on. And they said, oh, I'm praying so I may be able to, I want to stop smoking. And then the other said, oh, you shouldn't ask, it was in one of the temples, you shouldn't ask for you to stop smoking. What you should ask the blessings for, you should ask the blessings so you may have the strength and the wisdom in order to be able to stop smoking. And then the other person understood it, and it made a lot of sense. And then after this also helped him a lot after to be able to quit smoking. So when we ask, for example, we pray, what we pray for? We pray that we may receive the blessings in order that we may be able to have the wisdom, to develop the wisdom and the strength not to repeat our own negative actions again. So we ask these blessings to Guru Buddha as we make the commitment not to repeat them again. Okay? So, as I said before, here we can do the confession of the 35 Buddhas and any other practice of purification also. We can do prostrations. There are many ways that we can do practice of purification. This is the moment where we do them. Okay? So, the next part, very briefly, is the part that refers to rejoicing. So the verse says, Chönam ranshin tsema dandre ya milam jishin kieba tamchi kidega chirian charwe namkala daja sambatape yirango. Though all things are like a dream, lacking inherent or natural existence, we sincerely rejoice in the happiness and joy of all Aryas and ordinary beings, and in every white virtue that has ever arisen. So this is the part of rejoicing, of feeling happy for the happiness of others. It's a very, very important quality that we need to develop. In order to be able to rejoice, we need to stop comparing ourselves with others, first thing. When we are always comparing ourselves with others, this also already blocks the possibility of rejoicing. Okay? So I see the quality of other people, I see the positive actions they do, and I'm happy for this. So simple. Actually, if we know how to rejoice correctly, we will see that to be happy is much more easy than we may think. It's much more simple. But normally we are not able to rejoice. Why? Because we are extremely selfish. We are obsessed by the I and the my, by our self-gratification. So we're not able to look at other people that has no direct connection with the I and the my and to be happy for what they do and for what they have. It's very difficult. But luckily, as Geshe Chekawa, the great master of 11th century in Tibet, he said, the mind is full of faults, it's full of defects, but it has one great quality. What you teach, it follows. So if we teach ourselves to rejoice slowly, slowly, it will come more and more natural. That's why we need to do. It's something that Buddha taught us that we need to do 7 things daily. Prostrations, offerings, openly admitting our mistakes, rejoicing, requesting the teachings, request Guru Buddha to remain with us, and to dedicate our merits. It's called the 7-limb prayer. This is what is in the Guru Puja, this is what's in the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, this is what we find in the preliminary prayers, and so on. But it's not just to recite. We need to apply it in our daily life. Because we look, most of the suffering that we have is coming from where? Selfishness. The thinking of the I and the my. Even if there is someone with a big suffering, but has nothing to do with the I and the my, okay. There is a small problem relating to the I and the my. A tragedy. Why? Because we are selfish. So by training ourselves in rejoicing, it helps also to eliminate such selfishness. Okay? So it's really remembering the positive qualities of other people, being happy for it. We also, again here, we try not to be too general, but start from a specific action, maybe done by our guru, maybe done by Buddha that we remember, maybe done by someone that we really respect and love very much. And it's more easy for us to rejoice. And from that we say, oh, may all the other positive actions that others have done, I also rejoice for them. Okay? And we try to open our mind in this sense. So rejoicing is really something that it's very important, it's very powerful also. Okay? So really, it's a practice that we need to get acquainted with. That it changes our life. If we learn how to rejoice, it will change your life. Completely. Daily. Now, if you make the question to yourself, how often do you rejoice? How often in a week? How many times in a month? The original question will be how many times in a day? Okay? Do we rejoice? So because it's not coming spontaneously, we need to force ourselves to rejoice. We need to induce ourselves into rejoicing. Even though it will not be the most perfectly sincere rejoicing. Okay? But we are training ourselves in that direction until that it will come naturally and spontaneously. That's the objective. Okay? That's why we say the verses. That's why we repeat it again and again. Okay? This is just to remember the prayer that we have of the Guru Puja. The Guru Puja was not written to be recited. It was written as a meditation. It's a guide of meditation. So to think about the meaning, to direct our minds. Then also, sure, we need to do the recitation of the Guru Puja, that helps us. But it's the first step. Together with it, we need to think about the meaning. So we need to rejoice, open our heart towards others. Okay? So we just read these next verses, and then on the next teaching we have the opportunity to explain them with more details.
Puljun kense chunzin bumrete taye rodi pende kundense keda yundu nedan pevechi sabke chogi charba up to soul.
Requesting the teachings. We ask that rains of vast and profound Dharma fall from 100,000 clouds, billowing with sublime wisdom and loving compassion, to nurture, sustain, and propagate a garden of moonflowers for the benefit and bliss of those limitless beings, which means we request Guru Buddha, the clouds is the clouds of love and compassion, from which comes the rain of the teachings, and from these rains the flowers of realizations grow on sentient beings. So the request is done on this poetic way. So please continue always to give teachings so sentient beings may be able to get out of suffering. Then the next verse is when we request Guru Buddha to remain with us. And it says, Dorje kula kechi mingayang sunju wangi gyabo samato daja maba jishin sete ba nyangi midan tabra shuksu so. Though your Vajra body is subject to neither birth nor death, and is a vessel of unity, wish-granting gems, which means although you are the union of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and your true, very subtle existence does not experience birth and death, please remain with me in a gross manifestation. I need that. No, as the verse continues and says, please abide forever, and in keeping with our wishes, pass not beyond sorrow until samsara's end, which means do not enter in a deep state of existence, in a very subtle state of existence, which goes completely beyond this gross world that we have now. Because if the Buddha is in the very deep level of meditation and so on, I'm not able to perceive it. I'm not able to enter in contact. So please continue to manifest yourself with a gross body that I can see, that I can touch, that I can listen. Please continue to be near to me in this and in all my future lives, because I need guidance. Until I get out of samsara, I need guidance. So please continue to be near to me in every thought I have, in every word I say, in every choice I make. Dedar chumbe namgar gewet so karin sunde jezun lama itsera kundu drame jezinchin sunchu dorje chama top chirno. We dedicate the collection of white virtues thus created, that we may be inseparably protected throughout all our lives by venerable gurus possessing the three kindness, and that we may attain the Vajradhara state of unity. In other words, we say, we dedicate here all the merits, all the positive actions we have created. We dedicate them so that in all our lives we may maybe never be separated from a perfect guru, and by that we may be able to fulfill the path to enlightenment in order to help every sentient being to get out of suffering. So in that way we make the dedication. And in this way we conclude the 7 limb prayers. Okay? Next time we'll go just through this last 3 7 limb prayers, which means requesting the teachings, requesting Guru Buddha to remain, and dedications. We will go in more details about them. Okay? And but I prefer to give more time to each part instead of hurry up to finish verses. Okay? We have no hurry to finish the text. That's why my program was to conclude this part this afternoon, but we just passed through it quickly. And in the text it's saying this is the 7 limb prayers. This part, Tomeduni, is the remaining of the 7 limb prayers, because prostration and offerings we have already done before. Okay? So now we make our final dedication. And we dedicate our merits also today, especially for all our friends in Nepal. And especially also that Nepal is a place where the Dharma has always flourished, so it may continue to flourish for the benefit of many, many, many beings. Okay? Some people sometimes may ask, why we make a dedication for one part of the world specifically and not for other parts that have many problems and so on. One of the reasons is that whenever we pray for someone to whom we have a special connection, it has a special power. We also make the dedication for all the world and for everyone. But when we have a connection with a place, when we have a connection with a person, it's like if we have an open channel to be able to reach there. Okay? That's why also there is a special quality. That's why when we pray for people that we love, for places that we have been, it has a special power also, differently than if we just do it in a general way.
mam soha. Om 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 swabhava bishete dharma de benza siddhi ho namo sarvatat. Sarvate kam gate parana heman kanganan kam svoha. Omo amrite humpe. Om akaro mukha sarva dharmam adye nibenat. Namo sarva tata gata avalokite om sambara sambara hum. Om ruro puro sarva tishta siddhalot. Sadhana soha. Dagi sambe topdani teshin shebe chindopda. Chege yinge tenangi. Tenda kanda sambakun. Teda tamche chirikpa. Topa me par jungyurchi. By the power of my thoughts, by the power of the blessings of all Tathagatas, and by the power of the sphere of reality, may any purpose we desire be realized without obstruction. Jetsu lame kotse raptenchi namkar trinle chochur gepadang losan tempe dreme sasumgi drove munse tato negyurchi chancho semcho rinpoche ma ke panam kegyu kepa nyampar me paya konne konto pelwarsho Nimo dele tsendele Nime kuyandele Sentaktu delekpe Concho sum ki jingilo Concho sum ki modrub tsol Concho sum ki trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessing. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspicion.